Hey everyone, this is a clip from a recent episode of Another Pass, where we talk about movies and all the struggles that go into making them. If you like it, check out the whole podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, and this is going to be the first fifth episode that I'm going to actually have like a pitch for.
Oh my gosh.
Which is really like kind of outside of what we're supposed to do, because we're supposed to just be reveling in the creativity. And I do think it's there. I like the fact that Heath Ledger died and that the movie was made like actually finished, I think is there. I don't know if it's the best way to do it.
Oh my God, you came prepared with I didn't come prepared with a pitch. We don't have to do that for these shows.
No, here's the simplest thing. Like, all right, let's just talk about Ledger's death and how they worked with it now, because that's the thing everyone fucking knows about this movie. Probably anyone listening to this is like, oh, they're going to talk about Ledger's death, and I've never seen this movie. Will be the majority of people who listen to this episode. So,
yeah, probably.
So, like, Ledger died, and they, and fortunately, they had shot most of his, like, quote unquote exterior shots. Like, there was a little bit that they had to use like a body double for, or that they just wrote him out of scenes, but they had gotten most of the stuff in the quote-unquote real world. And in this movie there is this like internal device of this fake mirror that people go into that take them into weird worlds, and it takes and the decision was made like, okay, well, when Ledger goes in there, he transforms into a different actor as perceived by the person who goes in with him, and the decision was to have a couple different people do it. So we got Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell. Of these, most of that time is spent with Colin Farrell at the end of the movie. That's the biggest chunk with the character. But we are introduced first to Johnny Depp. And, you know, we're recording this at a time where public opinion on Johnny Depp is not particularly good. Because there's a lot of shitty toxicity going out in the world right now.
We've never shied away from that stuff.
Nope. And it's a bummer because, like, I mean, the thing that turned me on to liking Terry Gilliam movies was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and finding out that like everyone kind of involved kind of sucked is really frustrating. I don't even want to say kind of, like, it did suck. This is such a fucking terrible thing for us to wait into on this episode. Fuck Johnny Depp. Like, I'm just gonna say it out loud. Like, also fuck Amber Heard. The whole relationship sucks. Like, no one's a perfect victim, but like he definitely was the bigger star with a lot more power in the relationship. So like the whole thing, like the situation was created by him, is what I'm getting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair, and I think that I will say that for years he was known to be drinking on sets, not be on time. There's a whole bunch of reasons why people were like, maybe we can't hire him, and I think that should be said. There isn't a case that he's facing right now because he allegedly, and I will use that word so we do not get sued, allegedly beat up a crew member. So he is a person that has his issues and toxicity. He is also an actor who's been around for decades, and I'm sure most of us have a complicated relationship with movies that he's been in that we absolutely adore. And I think that we can acknowledge that, and acknowledge that he did this movie, and the other two men also did this movie, and were chosen to be in it because they were very good friends with Ledger. And that was part of what Gilliam wanted to do when doing these reshoots, to just kind of have people that were actually close to Ledger to complete Ledger's last work.
Filling in to honor him in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of the actors put their feet towards Ledger's daughter. So like that's, you know, very respectable in that regard. Like there's, you know, I don't think anyone can badmouth anything involved in the actual production here. It's like we know, like, like we have a note in the outline, shit on Johnny Depp for a second here, because like we have to, like, we are all way more aware of things, but it's true. Like for a whole generation, like, has grown up with him as Captain Jack Sparrow. Before that, a whole generation grew up with him as like Edward Scissorhands, and like, you know, in so many roles.
I mean,
like,
Crybabies was one of my favorite movies. I mean, possibly still, you know, a movie that I enjoy. I don't know. I haven't watched it since.
I think it holds up pretty well. I watched it during the pandemic. I forget, like early on, but yeah. I just needed to say that one. And it's nice that it, like, the movie is so dedicated to Heath Ledger, and that it's all this group effort. And like apparently, once word got around that all these actors were coming on and doing this whole project, Tom Cruise was like, "Hey, can I get in on this?" And they're like, "Did you know Heath?" And he's like, "No, but this sounds cool." And they're like,
I didn't know. Like, you're not invited. Okay, bye.
Right.
Oh man.
Well, that's very nice of you, but were you friends? No. Okay, well, you can't come then.
He
Thanks
just
for
Right.
the offer.
the narrative about it. It's like, I want to look like the good guy.
Yeah, which that feels like a Tom Cruise move right there.
Yeah.
Remember, if you like that clip, check out the podcast. You can find it at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.